So the last lesson for this unit is about purchasing a vehicle. So it is actually a practical application of exponential relations and the financial mathematics equations that you learned. We're going to look at what are the costs of owning and operating a vehicle, and as well as what is the cost of actually purchasing a vehicle. And mainly we're looking at financing, because most people, when they purchase a vehicle, are not able to purchase it directly in cash. So they have to make some sort of loan arrangement with either their bank, their credit union, or with the car dealership. Now, in this lesson, we focus mainly on working with a car dealership, as we're not actually teaching investment skills here, but sometimes you can often get a better rate from your bank or from a credit union rather than the car dealership. But just to make things a bit easier for you mathematically wise and decision wise, we're looking at just what a car dealership would offer for financing of certain types of vehicles. So we'll start here with a sample of a payment chart. So it says here that when you're arranging for financing for a vehicle purchase, dealership's financing department may give you a wide variety of options. They'll give you varying terms, varying rates, varying payment periods. But what they really try to sell you is on what are the payments. Oh, can you afford $169 weekly, or can you afford to pay $240 each week? And if you can lower your payment rate just by extending your term a bit, so it might be easier for you. This is what they focus on, is the payments. But as your interest rate increases, you'll end up paying more interest for a loan than you would otherwise. So usually those smaller payments end up costing you more money in the long run. And that's what we're going to look at here. So this payment chart, it says that we have a vehicle. It costs $32,789. And we have these payment options here for 48 months, 60 months, and 72 months. And the rate increases as we go up in terms of the term. As the term increases, the rate increases. So the question we have for example 1 is, what is the total interest charged if this vehicle is financed at 39.99% for 60 months? And we are making semi-monthly payments. So if we read the chart, that ends up being this value here, $302, because that's where we match up the 60 months with semi-monthly, and the 3.99 is in that row as well. So that's how much we would pay every half month. So usually on the 15th and the 30th, you'd be paying $302. And we need to find out how much we would pay in total for this vehicle, and then compare it to the vehicle cost of $32,789. So I know this is worked out on the next page, but I'll just work it out here for you. That's $302 every half month for 60 months. So altogether, if we have 60 months, then there are 120, or 60 times 2, half months. So we'd end up paying $36,240 to finance this vehicle. And because the vehicle originally cost $32,789, we've paid $3,451 in interest. That's our total interest charge. This is how much more money you pay to finance that vehicle over that 60-month term than you would if you just bought it outright. The next question here says, how much money will be saved by making weekly payments of $169 at 3.49% for 48 months versus biweekly payments of $240 at 4.49% for 72 months? So these numbers are basically read from the chart. We have the 169 here, and the 240 here. Those are read straight from the chart. In order to calculate them, we kind of do these two side calculations here. The first one, $169 for 48 months, and we have to turn that months into years and then multiply by 52 weeks per year. This is how much money we would end up spending, $35,152. Or we can pay the $240 every 2 weeks for 72 months. So 72 divided by 12 times 26. We can pay this option instead, $37,440 if we go with the bi-weekly option. Now if we subtract the two, we end up with a difference of $2,288. So by extending the loan from 48 months to 72 months, we end up with an extra $2,288 that we have to pay. Or you can look at it as by taking the 48-month option versus the 72-month option, we'd save $2,288. So financing is not the only cost of ownership. The cost of fuel is another thing to consider. And when we talk about cars, we also discuss the fuel economy of a vehicle as well. So the fuel economy of a vehicle is measured in liters per 100 kilometer. And the fuel economy varies depending on the type of driving you do. So in the city where you have lots of stop and go driving, you'd end up using up more fuel than you would if you were driving on the highway where you're mainly just going at a steady rate, at a constant kind of rate for a longer period of time. Every time your car accelerates or decelerates, or rather, I guess in this case, only really accelerating by you pushing on the gas, do you use up fuel. So if you are not accelerating as much, then you'll use up less fuel. And if you're keeping your car at a steady rate, you'll be using a less amount of fuel than you would if you were accelerating. So if you imagine when you're driving, you have your foot on the gas pedal slightly, you can maintain your current speed, and you won't be needing to input more fuel than you would if you were trying to drive your car, move from 60 kilometers per hour to 100 kilometers per hour. You'd have to put your foot down on the gas pedal a bit more to add more fuel. So this is why we have different fuel economies for city and highway driving. Mainly in the city, you have to do a lot of stops, and every time you have to go from 0 back up to 50 kilometers per hour or 60 kilometers per hour, you're using up more fuel than you would if you're going from 60 kilometers per hour or 50 kilometers per hour to just maintain that speed. So to keep your car at that speed, you'd be using less fuel. So here's a sample question. We have a vehicle, the fuel economy is 7.8 liters per 100 kilometer for highway driving, and it's 10.3 liters per 100 kilometer for city driving. And we're asked here if this car is being driven about 180 kilometers in the city and 220 kilometers on the highway each week, and the average cost of fuel is $118 dollars per liter. What is the yearly fuel cost? So we'll need to do two separate calculations here and then add them together. So what you see here is the city fuel cost is the distance driven for the week, 180 kilometers, times the fuel economy. So that will require 10.3 liters for every 100 kilometer that we drive of that 180. We have to multiply that by the cost of per liter. And because that's weekly and we need to find out per year, we have to multiply by 52. So we end up with $1,137.61. For the highway driving, we're driving 220 kilometers each week. It takes 7.8 liters to drive every 100 kilometers. We multiply that by the gas price and by 52 weeks. Our highway fuel driving cost is going to be $1,052.94. So we just add those two together, 1052.94 plus 1137.61, and we end up with our yearly fuel costs of $2,190.55. Some other costs that you should be aware of are the cost of licensing and license renewal and insurance costs. And with insurance costs, those vary based on gender, based on a driver's history, and based on driving habits. Also where you live, so your postal code. Those are all things that are things we consider for the for calculating insurance. You'll have a question on insurance costs in the assignment, but in that case, I'm just giving you an insurance, and then you'll just have to kind of work with that. Just be aware that insurance rates vary based on a number of different factors. So let's try some of these support questions out. It says here we have a financing arrangement for a vehicle. The purchase price of the vehicle is $46,025, and we're making weekly payments of $188 at 2.5% for 60 months. So what is the total amount of interest paid on this vehicle? Well, the 2.5% is used to determine that payment rate, so that $188. We don't need the 2.5% in our calculation. And you might have noticed that from the sample question earlier, but just to keep you aware of that, you don't need to use the interest rate for these types of questions if they're presented this way. So if we're at $188 and we're paying that for 60 months, but we have to turn that months into years, and then we have 52 weeks per year, we end up with a total amount paid of $48,880. And if we subtract the $46,025, we end up with the interest paid on this vehicle being $2,855. So that's our answer for question 1. For question 2, it says how much money will be saved by making monthly payments of $750 for 60 months versus biweekly payments of $298 for 27 months. So let's start with the $298. These are biweekly. So we have to turn the 72 months into years, and there are 26 biweekly periods in a year. So this is how much money we would pay for those 298 biweekly payments. And we'll have to subtract this from the 750 for 60 months. We would save $1,488 if we take the 750 for 60 months. Last question here talks about fuel economy. So it says the fuel economy of our vehicle is 6.2 liters per 100 kilometer for highway driving, and it's 8.9 liters per 100 kilometer for city driving. So if we're going to drive 250 kilometers in the city and 80 kilometers on the highway each week, and our average fuel cost is $1.15 dollars per liter, what's the yearly fuel cost for this vehicle? So let's take that 250, and we are going to multiply this by the 8.9 liters per 100 kilometer for the city. So we divide by the 100 kilometers as well. We have to multiply this by the cost, 1.15, and we have to find out what this is our weekly cost, so what's this going to be yearly? Multiply by 52. So here's our yearly city driving cost. And we'll have to add to this the highway driving cost, which is 80 times 6.2 liters per 100 kilometer times the 1.15 times 52 weeks in a year. And altogether, our driving costs are going to be $1,627.16 for the yearly driving cost for this vehicle. So I will now show you, let me turn this off, what your assignment will look like. So let's go to the content section, and under the lessons, you'll see this lesson, of course. But when you're done with that, I want you to go to assignments, and you'll see purchasing a vehicle here. So clicking on this assignment, let me just switch to view as a student. Clicking on that assignment will get you to this purchasing a vehicle assignment, and you'll need to open up this PDF document. And this is the file that you'll be working on, and you'll have to submit your work. So let me open up what that file looks like. What our assignment's going to look like is this here. So we have a 35-year-old male driver. So this is all the insurance rates are going to be based on a 35-year-old male driver. And all this financing is going to be based on a Chrysler Pacifica Model L. And it says the total cost of this vehicle is $40,726. And the financing options here, ranging from 36 months to 84 months, are listed. So you'll be asked, it says determine the total interest that will be paid for the following financing options. So we have biweekly payments of 48 months. So from there, you'll need to read through this table to find out what the biweekly payments for 48 months are, and we have to find the total interest. So biweekly payments for 48 months is $420. And that would then be, to find the total interest, we have to find out how much is going to be paid, and then we have to subtract the original cost of $40,726. So let's try 420. This is bi-weekly for 48 months, so times 48 divided by 12, and bi-weekly is 26 bi-weekly periods in a year. We're going to pay $43,680 in total. So minus the original cost and the interest, the answer for 1A is going to be $2,954 in interest. So the first question is pretty straightforward like that. Question 2, how much money will be saved? Well, this is like the support question we did, where you're going to have to calculate that, how much you'd save, by determining the two other payment options and subtracting the greater one from the lesser one. Determining fuel economy, similar to the other fuel economy questions, so I won't redo that one. But the last one, it says here, the driver decides to make the semi-monthly payments for 48 months. The monthly cost of insuring the vehicle is $204.75, and his driving habits will be as described in the previous question, so number 3. What will be the yearly cost of financing, fuel, and insuring the vehicle in the first year? And it says, note that taxes are already included in each of these amounts. So we don't have to add tax to this, but what we do need to do is find out what the semi-monthly payments are for 48 months, calculate how much has to be paid in for 1 year, so for 12 months of those payments, plus the 12 months of paying the $204.75 for insurance, plus the amount, that the yearly fuel economy that was calculated in question 3. So that's the answer to number 4. So for number 4, you need your answer for 3, plus your yearly insurance cost, which you have to calculate, plus your semi-monthly payments for 48 months, which you would have already calculated in question 2 as well. So 4 is kind of like adding the answer, part of the solution from 2, the solution from 3, and the insurance costs from 4. And that's how you would do this. Once you're done doing all of this work, you could do it on a separate sheet of paper and physically hand it in to me, or you can take a picture of your work and submit it in the assignment Dropbox found on the course website.